I never felt we were big rivals. You know, we were the Beatles. When we landed in New York was the biggest thrill in my life. We're in America. Following the heartbreaking death of rock legend Rick Derringer, the world was already in mourning, but no one expected Ringo Starr to step forward with a message that would leave fans speechless. In a rare and emotional statement, the former Beatle broke his silence, revealing stunning truths, long-held secrets, and a bond with Derringer that few ever knew existed. His words didn't just honor a fallen friend, they shook the music world to its core. So what did Ringo say that has left everyone stunned? This tribute is deeper than anyone imagined. Ringo Starr speaks on Rick Derringer. Ringo Starr, the world-famous drummer best known for his role in the Beatles, has shared a touching tribute to honor the memory of his friend and fellow musician, Rick Derringer. The sad news of Derringer's passing on May 26, 2025, in Ormond Beach, Florida, at the age of 77, sent ripples of sorrow throughout the music world. Ringo took to social media to express his grief and celebrate Derringer's extraordinary contributions. In his heartfelt message, he wrote, "Farewell, Rick. The music world has lost one of the best. I will miss you, my friend." Those few words carried a deep weight, revealing just how much Derringer meant to him, both professionally and personally. Rick Derringer was no ordinary musician. His remarkable journey began when he was just 17 years old. At that tender age, he and his band, the McCoys, recorded the unforgettable Hang On Sloopy. That single catapulted him into stardom almost overnight, shooting straight to the top of the Billboard charts in 1965. For many teenagers of that era, Hang On Sloopy was the soundtrack to their youth, but Derringer was only getting started. As the years passed, Derringer's career blossomed in ways few could have imagined. He cemented his place in rock history with the classic anthem Rock and Roll Hoochie-Coo, a song that still resonates with music lovers to this day. Its raw energy and infectious guitar riffs made it a staple of rock radio and a favorite among concertgoers. But Derringer was not content to remain only in the spotlight as a performer. His creative talent stretched beyond his own recordings. Rick Derringer became a sought-after producer, working with some of the biggest names in music. He lent his skills to artists like Cyndi Lauper, known for her colorful persona and powerful vocals, and Barbra Streisand, a legend in her own right. Even Weird Al Yankovic, the king of musical parody, benefited from Derringer's sharp ear and innovative approach in the studio. One of Derringer's most memorable contributions to popular culture was the adrenaline-pumping song Real American, the theme music for wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan. For millions of wrestling fans in the 1980s, that tune defined an era. It became an anthem of triumph, blaring triumphantly as Hogan stepped into the ring. Derringer also became an integral part of Ringo Starr's all-star band, a supergroup made up of celebrated musicians from across the industry. Sharing the stage during those tours forged a bond between Ringo and Derringer that went far beyond the music itself. They built a friendship grounded in mutual respect, camaraderie, and the shared thrill of entertaining audiences around the world. That connection made Derringer's death especially painful for Ringo. He wasn't just mourning a fellow artist, he was mourning a dear friend. Only a year before his passing, in March 2024, Derringer had released a career-spanning project titled Rick Derringer, My Double Gold Life. This collection brought together 50 songs from across his 5 decades in the industry, offering fans an opportunity to trace his evolution as a musician and producer. The compilation served as a testament to his enduring passion for music and his determination to keep creating, even as the years passed. Following the announcement of his death, tributes poured in from all corners of the music community. Blues guitarist Joe Bonamassa shared warm memories, describing Derringer as a humble and generous spirit whose love for music never faded. John Corabi, who once fronted Motley Crue, recalled Derringer's genuine kindness and unwavering dedication to his craft. These heartfelt remembrances echoed the same theme. Rick Derringer was more than a brilliant musician. He was a good man, the kind whose presence left a lasting impression. The loss of Rick Derringer has created a deep void in the world of rock, pop, and blues. His passing is a reminder of how much one person's creativity and energy can touch countless lives. Though he is no longer here to pick up a guitar or step behind a microphone, his music lives on in the hearts of fans old and new. Every time Hang On Sloopy or Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo comes on the radio, listeners will feel that spark of joy and rebellion that Derringer captured so effortlessly. Rick Derringer was a true legend, an artist who never stopped evolving and never stopped giving. While the world will miss his talent and spirit, his legacy is far from over. Through the songs he wrote, the records he produced, and the memories he created with fans and fellow musicians alike, Rick Derringer's influence will continue to shine for generations to come. Aside from Rick's career achievements, did Ringo reveal anything about him? Perhaps something personal? Let's delve into the details of Rick's marriages. Rick Derringer's marriages. Rick Derringer's personal life was as eventful and colorful as his career in music. His first journey into marriage began in 1969, when he tied the knot with Liz Agris. Liz wasn't just anyone. She was a talented writer, a woman immersed in the creative and unconventional world of New York's art scene. When Rick met her, she was working for none other than Andy Warhol, the legendary artist and pop culture icon who had redefined modern art with his bold, eccentric creations. Imagine the electric energy of those times. The late 1960s, when music, art, and rebellion blended into a vibrant counterculture. That was the backdrop of Rick and Liz's love story. Their marriage, however, did not last. The pressures of fame and the relentless demands of their careers eventually drove a wedge between them. After years of trying to keep their relationship afloat amid the chaos of public life and personal ambitions, they decided to part ways and ended their marriage in divorce. Although their union came to a close, it was a chapter filled with passion, creativity, and the whirlwind spirit of an era when everyone seemed to be chasing a dream. But Rick did not give up on love. He found it again in his second wife, Deanne Bacalou. Their paths crossed at a time when he was continuing to build his musical legacy, and she brought a different kind of stability and companionship into his life. Deanne was not just a partner, but also a pillar of support, and together they shared the profound joy of welcoming a daughter into the world. The birth of their child was a bright light in Rick's life, a reminder of the sweetness that family could bring even as the spotlight glared, and the demands of touring and recording never truly faded. Yet despite the shared joys, the second marriage also encountered its own challenges. Fame has a way of placing enormous strain on relationships. The travel, the late nights, the unpredictability of life on the road. These pressures slowly eroded the connection Rick and Deanne once held so dearly. Even the love they had for their daughter could not completely shield their marriage from the realities of personal differences and the toll of public life. Eventually, their relationship, too, ended in divorce, closing another significant chapter in Rick's search for lasting love. Still, Rick remained hopeful that he could find a partnership that would endure. His heart was open to the possibility that he could once again share his life with someone who understood the man behind the guitar, the artist, and the ordinary human being, with all his hopes and flaws. It was in this spirit that he married for the third time, this time to Jenda. She would become his companion in later years, offering new promise for a more settled and enduring bond. Little is publicly documented about how Rick and Jenda met, or what drew them together, but the fact that he continued to seek connection shows a side of him many might overlook. While his guitar riffs and stage performances projected the image of a confident rock star, his private life revealed a man willing to believe in love again and again, no matter how many times it had eluded him. His marriages traced the arc of someone who was never content to remain alone for long, someone who believed that true companionship was worth the risks of heartbreak. Behind the headlines and the music charts, Derringer's story of marriage and divorce reflects a deeply human journey, the pursuit of belonging, and the desire to build something lasting in a life that was anything but ordinary. Each relationship shaped him in unique ways, layering new experiences and lessons upon the man the world saw holding a guitar under bright stage lights. Every union was a new attempt to balance the demands of fame with the need for intimacy, a struggle many celebrities face, often out of public view. In looking back at these chapters of Rick's life, one can't help but see a testament to resilience. Though each marriage ended, he never closed his heart. He kept searching for that rare connection, the one that could weather the storms of a life spent in constant motion. To the world, Rick Derringer will always be remembered for the iconic songs he created, the anthems that generations of fans still sing along to. But behind those hits is the quieter story of a man who kept trying to write love into the soundtrack of his life, hoping that the next verse would finally bring the harmony he sought. And so, Rick's marital history isn't just a list of names and dates. It is a testament to hope, to the belief that no matter how many times life breaks your heart, there is always the chance to begin again. For Ringo Starr to know so much about Rick, they must have shared a very close relationship. Let's dig into the details of the bond shared by the duo. Ringo Starr's relationship with Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer, the talented guitarist and singer, had the rare privilege of joining Ringo Starr and his all-star band for not just one, but three, the unforgettable world tours. These tours were more than a series of concerts. They were grand musical adventures that spanned continents, crossed cultures, and thrilled audiences wherever they went. One of the most memorable tours kicked off in June 2010, when the all-star band gathered to begin rehearsals. The atmosphere was electric from the start. Imagine a rehearsal space filled with some of rock's most celebrated artists, each bringing their own energy and legacy to the room. The lineup was remarkable. Wally Palmar, known for his work with the Romantics; Edgar Winter, the dynamic multi-instrumentalist famous for Frankenstein and Free Ride; Gary Wright, whose smooth voice made Dreamweaver an enduring hit; Richard Page, the frontman of Mr. Mister; and Greg Bissonette, a powerhouse drummer who had played with legends. Together with Derringer and Ringo Starr himself, they formed a supergroup that was as entertaining off stage as on. After weeks of intense preparation, polishing songs, tightening harmonies, and bonding as a team, they set out on their journey. The tour unfolded like a rock and roll odyssey. Their first stops took them across Europe, where historic venues and enthusiastic crowds welcomed them at every turn. In countries like Germany, France, and Italy, bands packed theaters and arenas to relive the golden age of classic rock. Next, the band ventured into Russia, a place with a deep love for Western music, despite decades of cultural barriers. There, Derringer and his bandmates discovered just how far their songs had traveled. Audiences sang along to every chorus, their voices echoing through massive halls. It was a powerful reminder that music can transcend language and borders. From Russia, they crossed the Atlantic to South America, where the passion of the fans burned even brighter. In Brazil and Argentina, thousands danced and cheered as the all-star band played hit after hit. The energy was contagious, so much so that the musicians often left the stage feeling exhilarated and humbled by the warmth they received. Mexico was another highlight. The audiences there were known for their vibrant spirit and devotion to rock music, and the concerts did not disappoint. Each night felt like a celebration of decades of musical history, blending the hits of every member into a single unstoppable force. Of course, the tour would not have been complete without shows across the United States. From coast to coast, the band played to packed houses filled with lifelong fans and newcomers alike. Every performance became an opportunity to honor the past while sharing the joy of music in the present. For Rick Derringer, this tour was not just a series of concerts, but a chance to collaborate with artists he admired and to connect with audiences in every corner of the globe. It was also a time of reflection, an acknowledgement of how far he had come since his early days recording "Hang On, Sluppy." Perhaps the most historic moment of all came when Derringer joined Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr for a special performance in New York City. The occasion was Ringo's 70th birthday, and the venue was none other than Radio City Music Hall, a place steeped in entertainment history. The night had all the makings of a once-in-a-lifetime event. As fans poured into the theater, the excitement was palpable. They knew they were about to witness something extraordinary, a reunion of two former Beatles on stage, supported by a lineup of world-class musicians. When Paul McCartney appeared, the crowd erupted in cheers that seemed to shake the walls. Here were two icons of popular music side by side, ready to celebrate not only a birthday, but also a legacy that had shaped the soundtrack of generations. Derringer's guitar blended seamlessly with the voices and instruments of legends, creating a performance that would be talked about for years to come. For Derringer, standing on that stage beside Paul and Ringo was more than a professional highlight. It was a deeply personal moment, a testament to decades of dedication to his craft. He had played with countless stars, recorded hit songs, and toured the world many times over. But this experience felt uniquely special. Looking back, these tours and that remarkable birthday concert weren't just about music. They were about connection, celebration, and the unbreakable bond between performers and fans. Rick Derringer's journey with Ringo Starr and his all-star band remains a shining chapter in his life, filled with unforgettable memories and the timeless power of rock and roll. Who was Rick Derringer? What was he known for? What brought him to the spotlight? Let's dive into the details. Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer, born Richard Dean Zeringer on August 5, 1947, was an American musician, songwriter, and producer whose career spanned more than 6 decades. His story is the kind that inspires young dreamers with a guitar in hand, proving that talent, hard work, and a love for music can leave a lasting mark on generations. His first taste of fame came early, when, as a teenager, he formed the band The McCoys. In 1965, their debut single, "Hang On, Sloopy," didn't just hit the charts, it soared straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It quickly became an anthem of the garage rock era, capturing the carefree spirit of American youth. People everywhere were singing along, and even today, the song is remembered as a classic. The McCoys went on to chart 7 top 100 hits, including popular covers like "Fever" and "Come On, Let's Go." But while the band was a success, Rick always felt drawn to explore more as an individual artist. By the early 1970s, Rick decided it was time to step into the spotlight on his own. He released All-American Boy, his debut solo album, which showcased his skills not only as a guitarist, but also as a distinctive singer and songwriter. This record featured rock and roll "Hoochie Coo," a song that would define much of his career. The track's searing guitar riffs and infectious energy made it an instant rock classic, earning airplay on radio stations everywhere and a place on countless playlists to this day. But Derringer wasn't content just to be a solo star. He became known as a versatile collaborator who could bring something special to any project. Throughout the 1970s, he worked closely with blues rock legends Johnny Winter and Edgar Winter. He didn't just play lead and rhythm guitar in their bands. He also produced all their gold and platinum albums. Under his creative direction, Edgar Winter's hits like Frankenstein, and Free Ride became some of the most recognizable songs of the era, blending rock with funk in a way that felt fresh and exciting. Rick's talent was so adaptable that he was soon sought after by some of the biggest names in the business. He contributed guitar to the sophisticated jazz-infused sound of Steely Dan, collaborated with pop icon Cyndi Lauper, and produced music for Weird Al Yankovic, the king of parody songs. With Yankovic, Derringer produced 2 Grammy Award-winning hits, Eat It, in 1984, a hilarious spoof of Michael Jackson's Beat It, and Fat, in 1988, another clever take on Jackson's work. These songs proved that Rick had a knack for blending humor with serious musicianship. His reach even extended to the world of professional wrestling. In 1985, Rick produced the World Wrestling Federation's album, The Wrestling Album, followed by Pile Driver, The Wrestling Album 2, in 1987. Among these tracks was Real American, the theme song that would become forever linked to wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. Even though it was originally written for the U.S. Express tag team, it later became Hogan's signature entrance music, pumping up arenas full of fans. He also contributed Demolition, the entrance song for the Demolition tag team, which added more memorable moments to wrestling history. Beyond the stage and the ring, Rick's music found its way onto the silver screen. He produced 3 songs for the 1984 Tom Hanks comedy Bachelor Party, proving once again that his sound could fit anywhere: radio, sports, or Hollywood. Rick Derringer's career was defined by his willingness to evolve and experiment. He wasn't satisfied with sticking to one genre or role. Whether he was performing, writing, producing, or collaborating, he brought a distinctive passion and craftsmanship to everything he touched. His guitar playing combined power and melody in a way that inspired countless musicians who followed in his footsteps. When Rick passed away on May 26, 2025, the music world lost a true pioneer. But his influence lives on in every arena anthem, every classic rock playlist, and every aspiring guitarist picking up an instrument for the first time. Rick Derringer didn't just play rock and roll, he helped shape it. His legacy will continue to echo through speakers and hearts for generations to come. Rick Derringer breathed his last and passed away. Towards the end of May 2025, how did it happen? Did he have any underlying health challenge? Let's find out. Rick Derringer's death guitar legend and celebrated musician Rick Derringer passed away on Memorial Day, leaving fans and loved ones heartbroken. The cause was a sudden failure of his heart, an unexpected end for a man whose music had lit up so many lives. Rick's devoted wife, Jenda Derringer, shared that her husband died peacefully after doctors removed him from life support late Monday night. Earlier that day, he had suffered a serious medical crisis that no one saw coming. According to Tony Wilson, Rick's longtime friend and caretaker, the rock icon had only recently undergone a major heart procedure, a triple bypass surgery, just 2 months before. Everyone had hoped the operation would buy him more time and help him recover his health. In fact, Tony said Rick had been feeling surprisingly well. Over the weekend, he appeared in good spirits, chatting with friends, and even playing a little guitar. He seemed eager to get back to some of the projects he loved. But on Monday evening, something changed. Rick was getting ready for bed in his Florida home in Ormond Beach. As he reached for the soft pillow he always liked to sleep with, he suddenly froze. According to Tony, it looked as though Rick had slipped into a kind of shock. Alarmed, Tony and Jenda quickly called for help. Paramedics arrived and rushed Rick to the hospital. But despite all efforts to stabilize him, his heart simply gave out. Tony shared that even in his final moments, Rick stayed calm. There was no panic, only a quiet resignation. When the doctors explained there was nothing more they could do, Jenda made the agonizing decision to let him go. She held his hand as he took his last breath. Reflecting on their time together, Jenda admitted she was stunned that their journey had come to such an abrupt end. "We thought we had years left," she said softly, "but God's timing is perfect." Her words carried both sorrow and acceptance, a recognition that some things in life are beyond any human control. Tony, who had been by Rick's side for countless concerts, recording sessions, and ordinary days, also expressed disbelief. He said that Rick had been so upbeat since his surgery, determined not to let the health scare dim his spirit. Even as he recovered, he remained the same positive, generous person everyone knew him to be. Those closest to Rick often remarked on his warmth and optimism. Despite decades in the music industry, with its highs and lows, tours and struggles, he never lost the kindness that drew so many to him. Friends describe him as a man who would always stop to share a story, offer encouragement, or lend a hand when someone needed it. Genda praised her husband for the grace and courage he showed in his final months. She called him so positive and peaceful, recalling how he refused to dwell on fear. Instead, he focused on simple pleasures, strumming his guitar, watching sunsets, and spending time with the people he loved most. Rick Derringer's influence stretched far beyond his own generation. From the roaring crowds who sang along to his hits to the young musicians he inspired, his work left an indelible mark on rock music. Songs like Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo, and his collaborations with other iconic bands will continue to remind the world of his talent. But those who knew Rick personally remember something even more important than the music: his big heart. They remember a man who, despite fame, never became arrogant. A man who cherished his wife, honored his friendships, and embraced life with gratitude. As news of his passing spread, tributes began pouring in. Fellow musicians, old friends, and devoted fans shared their memories of the man who made the guitar sing in ways few could match. While the loss feels sudden and deeply painful, Genda and Tony hope people will celebrate Rick's remarkable life and the joy he brought into the world. In the end, Rick Derringer passed the same way he had lived, on his own terms, surrounded by love and with an unbreakable spirit. Though his voice has fallen silent, his music and memory will echo for generations to come. Rick Derringer can be said to have achieved many things in his lifetime, leaving a legacy of virtues and excellence in the music industry. Rick Derringer's legacy. Rick Derringer's musical journey was as colorful as it was surprising, spanning decades and genres in ways that many people never fully realized. From the start, Derringer showed that he was no ordinary musician. He was a force who could move easily from one corner of the music world to the next, leaving his mark wherever he went. As a young man, Derringer first tasted success as the lead singer and guitarist for the McCoys. This was the band behind the unforgettable hit Hang On Sluppy, a song that climbed the charts and soon became a defining anthem of 1960s garage rock. Even today, Hang On Sluppy is still considered a classic, reminding fans of that raw, infectious energy that only rock and roll can bring. But Derringer wasn't content to be known for just one big hit. In 1973, he stepped further into the spotlight with his own solo triumph. His hard-driving track, Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo, showcased his fiery guitar skills and became an anthem in its own right. The song's electrifying riffs captured the spirit of rock, and it continues to inspire guitar players to this day. Derringer had also performed the tune with blues rock legend Johnny Winter, further cementing his place in the pantheon of great guitarists. His creative spark kept burning bright through the years. In 1985, Derringer co-wrote what would become one of his most famous contributions to pop culture, Real American, the booming, triumphant theme song for wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan. For generations of wrestling fans, that song instantly brought to mind the spectacle and excitement of the WWF, now known as WWE. Around the same time, Derringer was also exploring a different side of music, producing. He worked closely with Weird Al Yankovic, the master of musical parody whose hilarious takes on pop hits delighted millions. Derringer produced many of Weird Al's most beloved songs, including Eat It, a brilliant spoof of Michael Jackson's Beat It, and Fat, another parody that became a fan favorite. In fact, Derringer produced most of Weird Al's first 6 albums, helping the comedy musician build a career that would last for decades. For this work, Derringer earned a Grammy Award, proof of just how talented and versatile he truly was. Derringer's discography was impressively deep. Over the years, he released more than 20 solo albums. He also collaborated frequently with both Edgar Winter and Johnny Winter, 2 titans of blues and rock. In addition to his time with the McCoys, he formed and played in other bands such as the Derringers, always finding new ways to experiment with sound and connect with audiences. When news broke of Derringer's passing, tributes poured in from fellow musicians and fans around the world. Weird Al himself shared a heartfelt message on Instagram, writing, "He had an enormous impact on my life and will be missed greatly." For Al, Derringer was much more than a producer. He was a guiding influence and a friend. Acclaimed guitarist Joe Bonamassa also took to social media, posting on X, formerly Twitter, "Rest in peace, my friend. It was an honor to know you, work with you, and call you a friend." Rick Derringer's theater story is the story of an artist who never stopped creating, never stopped exploring, and never stopped rocking. Whether it was an unforgettable guitar solo, a wrestling anthem, or a parody record that made millions laugh, his music touched countless lives. His legacy will continue to echo through speakers, stages, and memories for years to come. So, what do you think about Rick Derringer's achievements, his marriage, and his death? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.